Is hell just a metaphor? Hello, my friends. Welcome back to another video at the John of New channel. Sitting here drinking my fabulous John of New coffee. John's Joe. This channel is funded by John's Joe Coffee. You know, when we think of hell, what comes to mind? We get these images that are directly from Dante's Inferno, the fiery abyss, the twisted landscapes, and maybe just an awkward moment at a family reunion. Maybe that's hell for you. But here's the big question. Is hell a real, literal place, or is it something entirely different? In this video, I'd like to talk about exactly that, because when we're looking into these ideas of hell, and the constructs of hell, where does it come from? What's the origin? Let's talk about it. Christianity is stemmed from Judaism. And in Judaism, when someone dies, they go to Sheol. And Sheol is a place where the dead go. It's not literally a place of torment, or it's just where they go. There's no concept of punishment while you're there. When Gehenna shows up in Jewish scripture, Gehenna, at that time period, was a physical place. It was a place near Jerusalem. It was a valley where some Jewish warlord massacred a bunch of children. And so the place of Gehenna was there. Now, there's stories of it later becoming a place where it had been kind of abandoned, and a place where people used to burn their trash and all kinds of things. But the idea of the hellfire imagery of Christianity coming out of this place called Gehenna, which eventually became the word for hell. And as that word Gehenna became more and more used, and then as these texts were being translated into Greek and other terms, words like Hades started to show up. And those ideas of this place of where morality is enforced, where people are punished for not being in line with the ideologies of a religion, hell has become the place where if you're not good in this lifetime, you're going to be punished in the next. It's become a place of fear. The concept of Hades as a shadowy underworld that's not a torture chamber. It's just a shadowy place, and shadowy meaning you can't see what's going on. You don't know what's going on, and that was the Greek version. But then they mixed it with Gehenna as literally this place that was a place of torture. These children were killed and potentially garbage burned, and those aren't a cosmic torture pit. Those aren't the visions of hell that churches use to scare their followers or their parishioners into staying good and holding true to their dogmatic rules and laws. The concept of hell is used to keep people in line. I mean, what's a better motivator than telling someone if they're not good, they're going to burn in eternal fire, being punished and tortured by a devil figure or demons. Hell is a self-created idea. Now, often I say this because Christianity turned it into dogma. But many people I know in this world believe that they're living in a hell, meaning they're tough. It's a tough psychological turmoil they're going through, shame and fear, and they are believing the world to be a negative place, so they're creating that hell around themselves. And that idea that hell is self-created, it permeates our culture in a big way. Oh, this is hell is something we might hear when we're doing our taxes. This is hell when you're drinking bad coffee at a rest stop, right? People use that word like it's salt and pepper on a steak. They're just liberally throwing the word hell around. But in religious dogma, religious ideologies, it's a tool of fear and anxiety to keep people in shame and fear and stress and in the end, the dogmatic ideology and the self-created ideologies of hell, they're in conflict because one of them is a mystical punishment coming from an external male patriarchal God, and one of them is just a bad experience. When it comes down to this idea of this bad experience, it comes down to, in both cases, you're the one who makes your life a better experience. And so when you're looking at the idea of hell itself, do you believe that it is this eternal place that Dante created in the 1300s, or do you believe it's just a bad time? The Buddha talks about life as suffering, but when you break it down correctly and you look at the actual text, you find out he said life is suffering because of our habitual response to our past experience, right? So he really talks about these ideas of it coming from our own mind and our own internal struggles and strives. The idea of a hell that we deal with now in modern imagery comes from Christianity. Christianity invented hell as a tool to scare people into following their doctrines and dogmas and being good Christians. And so oftentimes when someone's trying to save you from hell, they're literally trying to save you from something that their religion created. Oftentimes, like C.S. Lewis, he defined hell as a separation from divine love. Now, that's a wonderful, wonderful description, but I think that is a perfect description of the word fear, the feeling in fear. But what does hell do? Hell elicits a fear response. We're afraid of burning in hell. So hell would be, in my mind, just an aspect of fear. If you've been believing hell is a place that you go, what if it wasn't? What if it truly was just simply a state of mind? We all feel trapped sometimes in our private hells. Guilt, shame, that voice in your head is saying worse things about you than you would allow someone to say about your friend. There are a lot of spiritual teachings out there that say hell is not external. It's internal. It's a suffering we create when we're out of alignment with love, which is what I believe. We create negative experiences, and that would be defined as a hell. That inner turmoil that we find within ourselves it's like a fire within us because we suffer from the flames of our own belief systems, our own ideologies. And when an external religion starts using it as a fear-based doctrine, then all it's doing is giving you the belief in fear and that you should be fearful. It's very liberating to let go of fear. The fear of hell itself keeps people stuck in religions that tell them they're unworthy, unlovable, they're guilty, and that they're wretches, like Amazing Grace says. And when you release that fear, the positive effects on your mental health and your spiritual growth and your relationships suddenly shows out in the world. When I traveled through Egypt, I ended up not even speaking about religion or ideology or hell. I just thought about I love these people and I love this country, and I was treated beautifully. And as I've said on many other videos, I met someone else 20 days in who went there looking for it to be hell, and he saw a hell. People treated him like he was a jerk, and he treated me like he was a jerk. And so he was creating his own experience within that experience. I was being invited into homes for meals and meeting wonderful, wonderful people. He was living a hell. But when you start to realize that you are the one creating that hell through what you've chosen to believe about the experience around you, that metaphor of an external place comes very close to you, and you start to realize that you get to create from a positive perspective. The Bhagavad Gita says, thought by thought you forge your destiny. Therefore, to keep your mind on the positive rather than the negative is considered the austerity of the mind. When you focus on a beautiful, loving experience, you're focusing on a metaphorical heaven or nirvana. When you're focused on fear and hellfire and damnation and things going wrong, you're focused on a hell, and you're creating that experience into your life. I know that this video alone, questioning the doctrines of hell can provoke strong reactions, and I'm sure I'll get called the Antichrist or a blasphemer or something of that nature. But those strong reactions are coming from a negative belief system. It's coming from their own personal hell. I think it's important that we engage in being respectful and compassionate to everyone. Talk to them from their point of view. But if we're not open to hearing someone else's point of view, we're creating a personal hell for ourselves. We're locking us into a smaller view of what God really is. I think God is too big and too beautiful to be encompassed by any one school of thought or religion. And the idea of putting ourselves into judgment or fear and anxiety or guilt or any of these things, that is creating a metaphorical hell around us. People will ask me, are you saying hell does not exist? I'm going to say yes. Hell does not exist. Hell does not exist. Hell is a state of the mind. It's the choice to have negative experiences. This idea that there is a place of 9 levels of hell and the demons, and that's from Dante's Inferno in the 1300s. That has nothing to do with anything that's in the Bible. And when you question something as central as hell, it ruffles feathers. It's a doctrine that's deeply ingrained into people's lives because they've been told it since they were a child. There's a theory that the first 7 years of your life are the formative years. But spiritual growth often comes with asking big questions like this. So keep an open mind. Don't be afraid to explore these ideas. Is it more likely that there's some external place that you're going to go and suffer? Or is it more likely that in this present moment you can think positively or negatively? And when you realize that you never leave the present moment in life and everything you've ever experienced has happened in the present moment, then you realize what you think about this moment must be your heaven or your hell. And the kingdom of heaven is literally within you. What you think, you become. You create your world. Thought by thought, you forge your destiny. As a man thinketh, so is he. There's nothing good nor bad, but thinking makes it so. It always comes back to that idea that what you think about this moment is what you'll experience in the next. So I suggest you prioritize love and kindness, inner peace. And at the end of the day, whether you believe in a hell as a place, a metaphor, or just really a bad movie, the question remains, how are you living your life? Are you living in fear of a hell and a torment that didn't come into play for 1,300 years after Joshua walked the earth? Or are you choosing to love and watch love come into your life because that's what you're putting out? Spirituality is not about avoiding punishment. It's about embracing joy and creating love and putting that beautiful love, being the change you want to see in the world. So put down the pitchforks and start focusing on what truly matters. Live a loving life. Become present moment and fearless. Heaven is right here. Bring the kingdom of heaven to earth. You're the only one who can. You're the only one who has the opportunity to bring that feeling here and now. And as you bring that feeling here and now, that feeling will surround you with experiences that are part of that feeling, that give you that feeling again. Understand, hell is a choice, as is heaven. And both of them are just metaphors for states of being. And when you put yourself into the heavenly state of being, you will love your fellow man, woman, and child, and you will create a beautiful, loving world around you. But as long as you stay in fear and division and afraid of a hell, then you're just creating the turmoil of a hell in your lifetime. And that's my thought on that. I hope you guys are having a great day, and I will talk to you soon. See ya. Bye.